start with some super basic information about embroidery hoops. So first of all, what is the embroidery hoop and what does it do? The embroidery hoop holds the fabric and the stabilizer firmly in place as the machine is embroidering. The hoop attaches to the arm of the embroidery unit, and that's how the computer controls the motion and the speed of the fabric during a stitch out. It's basically the same idea as a hand embroidery hoop. The fabric is held taut but not stretched so that the machine can be precise and stitch out an accurate unpuckered design. So first, let's talk about the parts of an embroidery hoop. This is the hoop that comes with the Creative 1.5. It's the Creative Master Hoop, and it's 240 millimeters tall by 150 millimeters wide. And just for a reference, in inches, that's about 9.5 inches tall and about 6 inches wide. So first of all, you know that your hoop is right side up when you can see the text. So if you can see the PFAFF at the top and the size at the bottom, that's the side of your hoop that should be up when you're working with it. On the left side of the hoop is the hoop connector. So this is the piece that's going to slide into the arm of the embroidery unit and snap into place. Down in the lower corner, we have the quick release lever and we have the retaining screw. There's an outer hoop, which is the outside piece, and there's the inner hoop, which is the inside piece. So the quick release lever is used to tighten the outer hoop to snap it in place around the inner hoop, and the retaining screw can be used to set the tension of the outer hoop. So one thing to know about the quick release lever is that you never want to force it. So if you feel like it's too hard to close, you'll want to loosen the retaining screw until you can close the quick release lever, and then you can tighten that screw back up in order to tighten the outer hoop around the inner hoop. The center of each side of the embroidery area of the hoop is marked by a raised line. So this is how you can align fabric and projects in the hoop and know where the center of the embroidery is. It's important to know that these lines mark the center of the embroidery area. So that means the space that the machine can embroider in within the hoop. They don't mark the physical centers of the sides of the hoop. So if you're trying to center something in the hoop, you don't want to measure the sides of the physical hoop to find the center. You want to go off of the raised marks on both sides of the hoop. As I mentioned before, the hoop that comes with the Creative 1.5 is the Creative Master Hoop. So that hoop is 240 millimeters tall by 150 millimeters wide. But there's lots of other hoop sizes available, and you can use any standard hoop that's smaller than that size with the Creative 1.5. So on PFAFF hoops, the size refers to the actual embroidery area. So that's the space that the machine can create a design in as it's embroidering. The actual physical hoop is a little bit bigger than that because there's a margin, if you will, around the outside of the embroidery area. So if you were to measure the hoop, it will measure a little bit bigger than the size listed. That's because the size refers to the embroidery area. So some of the other hoop sizes include the 150 by 150 millimeter texture hoop. So this hoop has notches around the outside edge that allows you to put things like ribbon and other embellishments across and over the fabric as you're embroidering. There's the 120 by 120 hoop. There's an 80 by 80 millimeter hoop. And then there's the endless hoop, which is 180 by 100, which we will talk about in a second. If you have the wrong size hoop attached to your machine, or if you're using a hoop, if you're trying to use a hoop that's not compatible with your machine will tell you, because it would be bad to try to embroider a design that's bigger than the hoop. You might hit the edge of the hoop with the foot or the needle and break or damage part of your machine. So your machine will actually alert you and not allow you to stitch out a design that is too big for the hoop that you've put on the machine. So the endless hoop is pretty cool. These are all fairly standard and the same in the way that they work with the quick release lever and the retaining screw, but the endless hoop is a little bit different. The endless hoop is designed to be used when you're embroidering something and repeating it or tiling it and having to reposition the fabric a lot. So instead of the quick release lever, it has a lever in the same place, but it's just on the side, and this allows you to pop the inner hoop up and everything's all connected. And you can do this very easily while the hoop is still attached to the machine. And then you can reposition the fabric where you need it to go, and then you just snap this back and it pops the inner hoop back down. So this is useful when, let's say, you're embroidering around the hem of a skirt or shirt or across a quilt. Then you don't have to take the hoop off and do all of that when you're repositioning and every time you repeat the design. And there are actually specific embroidery designs, endless designs, that are meant to be tiled or repeated and fit together seamlessly. So those work great in conjunction with the endless hoop. So all of these hoops, if you would like to get any more to use with your machine, are available at your local PFAFF dealer, which you can look up on pfaff.com. So that's pretty much all the basic info that you need to know about embroidery hoops to get started embroidering. So in the next video, we are going to go over how to hoop up a project, so how to put fabric and stabilizer inside the hoop and a couple different methods for doing that.